You are watching No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and these are my views and opinions. Welcome to No Filter with Debbie. I'm Debbie Schlussel, and you know what's driving me crazy? What's driving me crazy is the non-stop negative, immature response over Amy Coney Barrett being confirmed. Yes, she was confirmed in the U.S. Senate. For the first time in history, not a single Democrat voted for the Republican nominee for the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, Republicans constantly vote for the nominees of Democrat presidents, and they will do it again because Republicans have no backbone to show the Democrats the way it's been shown to them. All you have to do is look back in history when Robert Bork, the nominee of George H.W. Bush to the Supreme Court, got borked. And if you don't know what borked means, well, all you have to do is look at the Kavanaugh hearings, and you could substitute the word Kavanaugh'd for borked. And what happened after that? Ruth Bader Ginsburg was nominated by Bill Clinton. And guess what? She was confirmed by a vote of 93-1. We've talked about that on this show. Only one U.S. Senator, a Republican, voted against her. All the other Republicans voted for her, despite the fact that she was a far-left ideologue. And despite the fact that right before that, there had been borking and there had been Thomasing against Clarence Thomas. So, what happened last night? One Republican, Susan Collins of Maine, voted against the nominee along with all of the Democrats in the U.S. Senate. And we've talked about this. They were immature. They walked out of the committee hearings. They did not take part in the vote. This is their kind of behavior. And then you heard the whining and moaning and yelling and screaming by Senator Schumer from New York. Grow up. Grow up. The Republicans never do this kind of stuff. And you know why? Because the Republicans don't realize that they are at war. They're at the mall. This is like after 9/11 where Islam was at war with us, and still is, by the way. And we were at the mall. The Republican U.S. senators are at the mall. And Susan Collins of Maine is part of the war, but she's a turncoat with the other side, and she always has been. So Amy Coney Barrett was confirmed, and there was a ceremony last night at the Rose Garden. And lest all the press whine about no masks, everybody wore a mask except the president and her husband and Clarence Thomas on the stage. But in the audience, everyone was wearing a mask. But the reaction has been crazy. Now, yesterday I showed you some of the clips from the 60 Minutes interview. Some of them were with Joe Biden, some of them were with Kamala Harris. But not all of the footage was included in the 60 Minutes interview. And last night, CBS News released some more footage of Norah O'Donnell, its anchor, which you wouldn't know because, like most people, you don't watch that newscast. Nobody does. But last night, she released more footage from Kamala Harris, and it's more of the same, of her laughing, her immaturity. Watch this.
Amy Coney Barrett's going to be the 9th Justice of the Supreme Court, and that will cement a conservative majority for generations to come, 6-3. What can you do about it?
Well, right now, I'm asking everybody to vote. And vote early. Where's the camera? Which camera should I be looking at? Vote early. Because the American people can make a decision about what the future is going to look like.
But if they vote for you, what can you do about it?
Well, the future of the court is always going to be a function of who is in office in the White House. And I believe that the American people can trust that if Joe Biden had the requirement to fill a seat on the court, he would do it in a way that would respect precedent like Roe v. Wade. And that's what's at stake in this election, as much as everything else.
All right. Now, my laugh was real, but can you imagine 4 years, maybe even, God help us, 8 of that horrible, fake forced, nervous cackling every time she doesn't know how to answer a question or doesn't want to answer a question. It is insufferable. Please make it stop. Ugh. Oh my God. All right, so that's her response. Now, look at there's a lot of response from the crazies, and we've shown you some other craziness when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and you heard these screaming and yelling. Well, there was this one screaming and yelling woman. There were other screaming and yelling people saying, "You just had to hold on." Well, listen to this reaction. Watch this video.
Amy Coney Barrett was just confirmed to the Supreme Court. So, all those times I said I was queer, oh my God, you guys, that was so funny. And this necklace, a total joke. Oh my God, I was just kidding. All those times I said men don't deserve rights. Oh my God, men are so great. I need a husband to show me how to be an adult, how to function. I'm the dumb woman, no numbers. Everything's fine.
Really? Men don't deserve rights. So that's this woman's position. Men don't deserve rights. That's where she starts from. That's her starting point. And she's got that little Wiccan or anarchy or Satan worship. It could be any of those three charm around her neck. It shouldn't be called the charm because it's so uncharming. But she's got that around her neck. And she's claiming that because Amy Coney Barrett was successfully confirmed to the U.S. Supreme Court, that suddenly, as a queer, as a lesbian, or whatever she calls herself, that she's not going to have rights. Please, that's not happening. That has not happened in America for decades. I know she wants to pretend she's living in the 1950s and she's so oppressed. All of these people on the left, they all love to play the martyr, whether they're famous people like the governor of Michigan or whether they're crazy people just making videos for attention because they want to be loved by total strangers like this woman. They all love to play the martyr. None of this is happening. She's a fair justice. She said that her own personal views, her own politics will not play a role. And we don't even know how she's going to decide anything. In fact, she could turn out, God forbid, to be another Justice Roberts. You never know which way this guy's going to go. He's not reliable. He's not consistent. You don't know the way she's going to go. I don't either. And you know what? They could be a source of worry, but so far, so good. I love the way she answered the questions. She handled all of this attack, the withering attack of these liberal U.S. senators with aplomb, and I think she's going to be great. This person is just a nut job, and she needs to be in the loony bin. She is in the loony bin. Now, one of the reasons the Supreme Court reminded us why it is so important that she was confirmed, and I'll tell you what the reason is. On Monday night, the Supreme Court, before Amy Coney Barrett was confirmed, ruled against Wisconsin, but it was very close. And what happened in Wisconsin is that they had all kinds of very liberal rules about what kind of ballots. And we talked about a similar case like this in Pennsylvania where they ruled the wrong way. But what kind of ballots are going to be counted when they arrive and so on. So in a 5-3 vote on Monday, the Supreme Court did not allow pandemic-related changes to voting rules in Wisconsin, which is good. Because what they wanted to do was they wanted ballots that came in late to be counted. Not only did they want them to be counted, it was a very, very liberal rule. They wanted a 6-day extension. So this is very similar to the Pennsylvania case. And I don't know why there was one vote that changed, but they wanted a 6-day extension for the receipts of ballots in Wisconsin. And they also said that ballots that were postmarked by Election Day would count. Also, they allowed for the receipt of ballots by electronic delivery if they were absentee, if the voter didn't receive one in the mail as requested. And that also would have extended to 6 days after the election. Can you see what kind of potential for fraud that would be? Thankfully, the Supreme Court decided the right way, but if they had decided like the Pennsylvania case, which was very similar to this 4-4, that law would have stood. And you know what? I told you yesterday that Pennsylvania is bringing that case again. But the Supreme Court might not take it up right away. Justice Roberts, he's the Chief Justice. He does all kinds of crazy liberal things. So who knows what would have happened. When we come back, we will talk the riots in Philadelphia and what happened to a New York police officer and why is he being punished. That and more on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
As the mayor of Bismarck, I invite you to join together today and stand united in the fight to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Case counts are steadily on the rise in the Bismarck-Mandan metro area, so please do your part. Protect yourself and others by wearing a mask when you're not at home. During the pandemic response, scientists have determined wearing a mask is a benefit to you and to those around you. This help keeps others from getting sick and may lessen the severity of illness if you were infected with COVID-19. We're all in this together. So let's get kids back to school, preserve our local economy, and keep our community strong. Let's show everyone how we come together to keep Bismarck the safe, resilient community we know and love. For more information, visit health.nd.gov/coronavirus. That's health.nd.gov/coronavirus.
Beck Communications is honored to be recently recognized with 3 Broadband Now awards. Beck Communications Cooperative was awarded in the categories of Top Internet Speeds Nationwide, Top 3 Fastest Internet Providers in North Dakota, and North Dakota's #1 fastest fiber provider. It's only through the support of our members and customers that Beck Fiber delivers award-winning speeds and service. Thank you, Beck Communications Cooperative members and customers, for your years of continued support.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
Is your business phone system outdated and expensive to maintain? Most large VoIP companies leave you on hold or struggling through online support and training for your employees. With Beck Connect, you always have fast, friendly, local support. Familiar faces with the know-how to keep you connected. Take advantage of the newest technology in voice calling, video conferencing, and virtual meeting rooms. Beck Connect gives you all the features you need with no upfront investment and no obsolete hardware or software ever again. Simplify your communications. Choose local. Choose Beck Connect.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, you might have seen this, but probably you did not because the media is working overtime to help Joe Biden win. So they won't show you this story, which is about the riots in Philadelphia. So last night there were riots, and there are still riots going on in Philadelphia. Why? Because a man with a knife, and it's being reported by some media outlets as unarmed, all right? Here's a tip. A knife is an armament. It is a weapon. He was not unarmed, but look at that. So people looted businesses. They set things on fire. They set multiple cars on fire. Police cars, regular people's cars that were parked. They destroyed, they pillaged. And the media doesn't want you to see this. Why? Because for the people that haven't voted yet, they don't want people to see that these are Joe Biden's voters. They're his people. Joe Biden will not do anything to stop this. In fact, his people are encouraging it. As I have said many times on this show, Kamala Harris, who will be the president if he gets elected, she still has a tweet up from June, and she refuses to take it down. You did not hear Norah O'Donnell or anyone at the vice presidential debate ask her, or in any of the press corps ask her why she won't take it down. She has a tweet asking for people to give bond money, bail money, to release violent people like this. You know, to let them out so that they can pillage some more, plunder some more, destroy some more. And listen to this. 30 Philadelphia police officers were injured. 30. And Joe Biden wants to defund these people to make it harder for them to defend themselves. Who is going to want to become a police officer? Nobody. Nobody in the right mind would take this job for low pay, risk their lives, risk their freedom, be attacked, have their cars set on fire by these violent mobs. Nobody's going to do that. So this man the other night that was shot and killed, 27-year-old Walter Wallace Jr., he had a knife. He charged at the police. He was asked to drop the knife. He refused to do so. And you know what Joe Biden would say to them? Oh, shoot his leg, shoot his leg. Yeah, right. Joe Biden has never been a police officer. He doesn't know what it's like in the heat of battle. What would he do on the streets of Philadelphia? Probably nothing. And you know what? Cops are under fire all over the country. These riots are not just going on in Philadelphia. This is still going on every night in Portland. The CHOP, the Seattle, or Chaz, what it was called in Seattle, the area that they cordoned off these crazy people for 6 blocks of them committing violence and anarchy. Nothing happened to those people. This is still going on. Yes, they abandoned it for a little bit. They're still having riots. This is going on every night across America, but you don't see it anymore because the media wised up. They realized, oh my God, we can't show this. It's not good for our guy Joe. No, it's not going to help the big guy. So if this is only going to help Trump. They can't show it to you. But this is what's going on. And then they wonder why a police officer does what he does, which he did in New York. Watch this video.
Trump 2020. Put it on YouTube. Put it on Facebook. Trump 2020. Take a picture, take a video. Put it on your Facebook. Put it on your YouTube. Have some fun. Tough guy, tough guy.
Do it again. What, you can't say Trump 2020 now? Say it again.
Trump 2020.
Go, you fascist.
Fascist. Please, he is not a fascist. What he is a frustrated police officer because we all know what's going on in New York. Mayor de Blasio, whose real name is Warren Wilhelm Jr., but he didn't want people to know that he's German because he's acting like a Nazi and like a fascist. And German people watching this, I'm not talking about you, so don't send mail on this. Just talking about this one guy. It's very weird. His name was Warren Wilhelm Jr., and he changes it to Bill de Blasio. That's for a reason. And he is the one that he's the mayor of New York. He is a Marxist. He wants to destroy America. He wishes he could do that, just like he's done to New York. Crime is way up in New York. Police have quit. They've retired. They've just left. And he's cut funding for the police. So there are fewer police out there. And you cannot blame this officer for doing what he did. All bets are off from the old rules where you wanted law enforcement to become or stay impartial. There is no reason for them to stay impartial. People like Bill de Blasio and all these people in Black Lives Matter, all of these liberal Democrats, they're all in the same crowd. They want to defund the police. They want to destroy them. They want to leave these men and women defenseless. That's why they're getting shot. That's why they're getting attacked. That's why 30 cops were injured in Philadelphia last night. And more will be hurt, unfortunately. I hate to say that, but we all know this is the path we've taken now. And when I say we, I don't mean you and me. I mean these liberal politicians who owe their fealty to Joe Biden and to whom Joe Biden owes his fealty. They want to destroy the police, and the police need to fight back, and I don't blame them. Just like that police officer we showed you in Miami who wore a Trump 2020 mask. And it's no coincidence, given all of this, that the New Jersey governor, Phil Murphy, also a liberal Democrat, has signed off on a bill that will release thousands of inmates early from the jails and the prisons of New Jersey the day after Election Day. Why is he doing that then? You know what? There are no coincidences. Why would you release hardened criminals early, ahead of schedule, and why would you do it? Some of them are set to be released in January 2021. So why would you do that the day after Election Day? You know why. Because if they don't get the result they want, if President Trump wins, or it looks like he might win, and there's still counting going on and lawsuits going on, they want mass chaos. That's why they're releasing these prisoners. This is not a coincidence. There are no coincidences in these kinds of things, not ever. All right, when we come back, I want to talk to you about the polls. Is Trump actually losing in Michigan and some of these other states like they say? And more news on Hunter Biden that you need to hear because you won't hear it anywhere else. That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
I just went in for a regular mammogram and I found out that I had a little tumor.
Through the exam and the biopsy, it was determined that I had cancer.
I got a call from one of my doctors that I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
After 5 years, they found a local reoccurrence.
The first thing you hear when you're told you have a cancer, it's a little daunting because you don't know where to go with it.
Since 1999, in a partnership between CHI St. Alexius Health and Sanford Health Bismarck, the Bismarck Cancer Center has provided the most advanced radiation therapies and holistic support services for cancer patients and their loved ones for 20 years.
I've been at the Bismarck Cancer Center since it started. I actually was in the basement of Med Center 1 before, when we had old machines and old equipment. And thankfully, the two hospitals at the time, St. Alexis and Med Center 1, joined forces to create the Bismarck Cancer Center.
I walk in the door, I get nothing but hugs, and I was marveled at them. I mean, I thought it was the best place in the world.
The staff is unbelievably compassionate, and they explain everything to you.
Everybody's genuinely concerned about your well-being, and the level of care is just top-notch. The Cancer Center just does such an amazing job of helping people.
To me and my family, the Cancer Center means life. It's given me the ability to live out my life with my family, my wife, my children, my grandchildren.
Because of them, I'm 2 years out, get to move on with my life, make a difference now for other people.
I would recommend this center because the minute you walk through that door, they've got your back.
This center means so much to me and to the people that are in this building, and we just want to keep giving it back to the community and providing for them what they need.
I'm Katie. I've been cancer-free for 2 years.
I'm Steve, and I've been cancer-free for 4 years.
I've been cancer-free for 10 years.
10 years.
11 years.
15 years.
My name is Lainey, and I've been cancer-free for 18 years.
Bismarck Cancer Center, your partner against cancer for 20 years.
Who do you trust with your digital life? Not all cloud backup providers keep your data truly private. Beck Cloud Backup uses advanced multi-layer encryption to keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business documents secure and only for your eyes. Your Beck Lightband Internet service already includes 50 gigs of free storage to keep your digital life safe and secure. Call us at 701-475-2361 to start using your Beck Cloud Backup today.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. Now, I have a question for you. Do you believe the polls? Because I don't, and I'll tell you why. We already saw how accurate the polls were 4 years ago. All of the polls, I believe the polls. I thought Hillary was going to run away with this thing. I didn't even think it would be close. I don't think the president thought that. I think everybody was surprised. And we all know that the Democrats were surprised because you saw all those sad crying faces at 2 and 3 in the morning at Hillary's non-victory party. Remember that? I remember it well. It warms the cockles of my heart to watch all of those people crying. If you're ever in a bad mood and you want to get cheered up, look on YouTube for that video. It does the trick. So I don't believe the polls this time either. Now, a lot of pollsters have said that they have made up for that. They've taken this into account. They've adjusted their samples and so on. But I don't think they have, because we know that a lot of the polling results come from polls whose samples do not match the demographics of the voting public. They have too big of a sample of liberal Democrats, too small of a sample of undecideds, too small of a sample of GOP voters, and you can't have an accurate poll that way. They also don't reflect people that are voting for the first time, people whose cell numbers they don't have, that they cannot get a hold of. There are a lot of variables here that can make these polls wildly inaccurate, and I think that's the case here. And now we have what is actually the most accurate poll there is, and that is the actual sample of people who have voted. This is as close as you can come to exit polls on election day. And frankly, with early voting and now with over 60 million Americans having voted, we know that this is actually a better sample than even at the polls on election day, where there may be fewer people showing up. We know that Texas is leading the country in in early voting. We know that Texas is leading, and Texas is a red state. And here it comes from Michigan, my home state. We know who a lot of the party registries are as when they identified as party members from years ago. We also know likely Republican voters just from various responses they've given to polls and things of that nature, how they've self-identified. And according to one source that I think is pretty accurate, there have been 2,147,288 ballots cast in Michigan. And out of those, 41% of the voters have previously identified as Republican, whereas only 39% have identified as Democrat. That is a very crucial set of figures, and I'll tell you why. Because as we all may remember, President Trump won Michigan, but it was by a very slim margin. It was just over 10,000 votes. And when you have just over 10,000 votes, and you've got 41% Republicans to 39% Democrats voting early, that is a significant edge. Now, some of those Republicans may be never Trumpers, they may be people who've changed, but you know what this also does not take into account? And I have seen this on the streets, and I know it's anecdotal, but I think it's backed up by polls. We've talked about some of those polls. I think it's backed up even more, which is there are a number of black voters who did not vote for the president last time around, but now they are. Last time around, President Trump, depending on which exit poll you looked at, got 8 to 10% of the black vote. He only needs 12% of the black vote to clinch this thing. He doesn't even need to hold on to all of the white voters. He just has to hold on to the vast majority of them. And I think this is a really good sample size. It's the largest sample size you're going to get. 2,147,288. If you are lucky, you have 1,000. That's usually the typical sample size. Something like 900 to 1,200 voters. Sometimes they'll have 2,000 to 5,000. This is 2,147,000 and then some change. That is really good, and that is as of the 27th, which is today. All right, so today, a week before the election, I think that's really, really interesting. So when they tell you Trump is losing by 7 or 8 points in Michigan in the polls, don't believe it, because this is the poll that counts. Remember the polls that predicted Dewey beat President Truman in the race, and Truman won. There are all kinds of examples of that, and we saw that 4 years ago. I think we may see it again, and I definitely think the president is going to win Michigan. Another indication is, again, the enthusiasm gap. Watch this video of people lining up in Florida, not even to see the president, to see Ivanka Trump. Look at this. Look at this. Look how long this line is. It goes on and on and on and on. You can't even see the end of this line. It keeps going. And these are people waiting in line all day in the hot Florida sun. Remember, it's still pretty warm in Florida right now. And look, it keeps going. These are people in line for Ivanka Trump. I don't even think all of these people are going to get in, and they probably know it. So that's that. Now, look at this from a Joe Biden event. Look at this. We need the Kamala laugh for this. There's nobody there. Look at it. They don't even have all the chairs filled. And there are very few chairs. This is Joe Biden himself. This is not his kids. And we will get into his kids in a second, but this is not his kids. Look at that. That's paltry and that's pathetic. Now, the enthusiasm gap does not always tell you who is going to win an election, but it is a pretty good indicator. It tells you a lot. People are not excited to show up for Joe Biden. And speaking of President Trump's kids, so that was Ivanka, and we know Don Jr. and Tiffany and Eric have been to Michigan, they've been to Florida, they've been to Pennsylvania, they're going to Wisconsin, and all these battleground states, Arizona. Where are Joe Biden's kids? You have not seen Hunter Biden on the campaign trail, and we know why, because he's got a little bit of controversy going on. You have also not seen his daughter, Ashley Blazer Biden, showing up. By the way, who names their daughter Blazer, Ashley Blazer Biden? I'm glad my parents did not name me Debbie Haltertop Schlussel, but, you know, my parents didn't value clothing items. So, Hunter Biden, where is he? We've got a lot of information about what he's been up to, and you've seen some of the stories, but there is so much more, and we will talk a lot about it after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
Bismarck Central, 4800.
4800, go ahead.
Requesting social services on-call team.
Stand by. 4800 social services requesting additional information.
You can advise social services that we have an 18-month-old female who was in a residence with a mother, now being transported to medical care for overdose.
Trusting your digital life to faceless tech giants can be risky. Will they keep your family and business information truly safe from prying eyes? If you subscribe to local Beck Lightband internet service, you already have Beck Cloud Backup. Beck Cloud Backup is the safest, most private cloud storage for all your family memories, schoolwork, and business documents. Call 701-475-2361 to start using your free space on Beck Cloud Backup today.
You just might find the home of your dreams this weekend by watching the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes Sundays at 6 p.m. and Wednesdays at 7 on Beck, featuring properties from Bismarck, Mandan, Minot, and surrounding areas. The Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes presents desirable properties that are for sale, lets you meet your Alliance realtors, and provides critical insights into local happenings from community and business leaders. Join us this Sunday evening at 6 or Wednesday at 7 for the Alliance Real Estate Tour of Homes on Beck.
Today's households have more digital devices than ever before. More links to family, business, education, and entertainment. Beck Communications spent over 10 years building North Dakota's fastest fiber optic internet service. Beck Lightband Internet, outpacing speeds in large cities nationwide. Lightband Internet handles all your digital needs without throttling your connection to the world. Beck Communications, valuable digital connections in rural North Dakota.
As the mayor of Bismarck, I invite you to join together to get our kids back to school, preserve our local economy, and keep Bismarck safe, strong, and resilient. A community task force has been launched to slow the spread of COVID-19 in our community. We're all in this together. Protect yourself and others by doing your part. Wear a mask when you're out and about, and slow the spread of COVID-19. For more information, visit health.nd.gov/coronavirus.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So before the break, I asked you, where are Joe Biden's kids? Trump's kids are all campaigning for him. They're all out on the campaign trail, except Barron, because he is underage and he had the virus. I think he's cured of it by now, but he's in school. But all the other kids are campaigning. And yet you don't see Hunter Biden or even the daughter, Ashley Blazer Biden, Ashley Haltertop Biden. You do not see them campaigning for their father. Why not? Don't they want their father to be president? Well, we all know why. We know why Hunter Biden is not on the campaign trail. Because he is in trouble. And a lot of people now want to change their votes. There are people who voted early for Joe Biden, and now they're seeing everything that's coming out. Despite social media trying desperately to silence this story and tamp it down. The New York Post story about Hunter Biden's emails on the laptop. So we know the story. We know how 60 Minutes tried to whitewash it and act that it, like it was Russian intelligence. But Hunter Biden made these deals. We know he got over $80,000 a month from Burisma to influence Joe Biden so that Joe Biden would get this attorney general fired in Ukraine to stop investigating Burisma. We know that Hunter Biden got $3.5 million wired to him by the wife of the former mayor of Moscow. We also know that Hunter Biden's firm got $1.5 billion from China. And we know that he got over $100,000, it was something like $180,000 a month from China. We also know that he has said a number of things, not only in emails, but now there are recordings. And we'll get to that in a second. But now we know, and you've heard a lot about Facebook. Facebook was trying to silence these emails. The story about them, Facebook's top people said that they were going to tamp down this story. They were going to limit its distribution before the story was even checked out. Well, the emails have come out where Hunter Biden was going to be doing business with Facebook, with Mark Zuckerberg. So they were going to own 50% of a business with Mark Zuckerberg. And they said, in the email, Zuckerberg is investing in veterans vertical. We'll own 50% of the business. We're investing in it, but he's also going to own 50%. This is what they're talking about. So they were going to be partners with Mark Zuckerberg. Did this ever come to fruition? I don't know. You don't know either. But this guy is trading on his father. He is trading on his father with some of the top people in the tech world who are trying to keep this quiet. I think it's very interesting and very much a strange coincidence that Hunter Biden's going to do this deal with Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg's company is trying to silence any information coming out about this. So that's one thing. And then now we know that there is more. Listen to this recording.
I get calls from my father to tell me that the New York Times is calling But my old partner, Eric, who literally has done me harm for I don't know how long, is the one taking the calls because my father will not stop sending the calls to Eric. I have another New York Times reporter calling about my representation of literally, Dr. Patrick Koh, the spy chief of China, who started the company that my partner, who was worth $323 billion, founded. It is now missing. The richest man in the world is missing, who was my partner. He was missing since I last saw him in his $58 million apartment and signed a $4 billion deal to build the largest LNG port in the world. And I am receiving calls from the Southern District of New York, from the U.S. Attorney himself. My best friend in business, Devin, has named me as a witness without telling me in a criminal case, and my father without telling me.
And my father. So you heard this. Does anybody believe Joe Biden claiming he never talked to his son about any of the business? There's Hunter. That is his voice. And if you don't believe it, go online. Look at the interview he did with Amy Robach of Good Morning America, the softball interview, where she let him excuse away all the things that he did. Go listen to that. That's Hunter Biden's voice. He sounds a lot like his father. It's him. And all the things he's talking about, his father is telling him all of what's going on. He's under criminal investigation, or he thinks he is. The New York Justice Department officials want to talk to him from the Southern District of New York. His partner is one of the richest people in China, who's a member of the Chinese Communist Party, who he says is the spy king of China, and that's his partner, worth billions of dollars. And he's talking about this, and he's talking about his partners, some of them telling on him. One of his partners is missing. It's very confusing. But what isn't confusing is he is doing a lot of things, trading on his father. His father is heavily involved. His father's calling him and telling him what's going on. His father knows. These recordings should be all over the news. This should be the top story. The emails were just the tip of the iceberg, the first emails that we saw in the New York Post story. This is a huge story. This is a seismic. This story is so big that it should seismically shift the presidential election and what is the top story with regard to it. But it isn't. Why? Because, as we saw, the tech giants are partners with him. Facebook, he's doing deals with Zuckerberg. They're tamping this story down. And the mainstream media wants nothing to do with it. They want Joe Biden to win. They're in the tank for him. Norah O'Donnell, when she asked Joe Biden about this, she didn't ask him about it. She said, oh, isn't there this Russian disinformation campaign about you, against you? So implying that these emails are fake? They're not fake. If they were fake, Hunter Biden would be all over the airwaves saying, this is not my voice. These are not my emails. I had nothing to do with the Chinese. I had nothing to do with Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook. I didn't do business with the spy king of China. The spy king of China. This is the son of possibly the next president of the United States. And you know what? I did a meme about this because we've had other children of presidents that are like this and other relatives of presidents. And Joe Biden has Hunter, and he's got his brother Jim Biden, who was in on this whole thing. And they were working overtime to hide Joe Biden's knowledge and involvement of this. But that recording tells you Joe Biden was in on it. He knew everything that was going on. He was alerting Hunter to everything. So I have a meme that I created. I had my friend make it for me. Because remember Billy Carter, the brother of Jimmy Carter, and remember the children of, or the brother of Bill Clinton, Roger Clinton, and remember Hillary Clinton's brother Hugh Rodham? They all traded on their relationship. So look at this meme that I created. Look at this. Do we have it? Do we have the meme? I guess maybe we don't have the meme. All right, and then there is this picture, because somebody is onto this, the campaign sign with Joe Biden. So we've got that. Look at that, 10% for the big guy. Nobody has asked Joe Biden, except Donald Trump at the debate, and Joe Biden did not answer it, who is the big guy? And we all know who the big guy is, Joe Biden. And they said in the emails, we have to set aside 10% for the big guy. And then there is one other thing that we didn't talk about, and that is Ashley Blazer Halter Top Biden. Why is she not campaigning for her father? She's not Hunter Biden. Well, I'll tell you why. Because she herself has a history of drug use, has a history of arrests. Nothing happened to her. There are videos of her snorting cocaine. Have you seen them? That should be a major story when the Bush daughters, and they're liberals, but when the Bush daughters, when George Bush was running, we saw pictures and videos of the Bush daughters drunk on their rear ends. That was in the news. This woman somehow isn't in the news. Why? Because Joe Biden is a Democrat. When we come back, we will talk about what's going on in North Dakota, a Grand Forks mask resolution, and also what did Deborah Birx have to say about North Dakota? That and more after these messages on No Filter with Debbie on Beck.
He once won a spelling bee in an ancient language that he did not speak. He is the only man to ever earn extra credit on an IQ exam. His academic degrees are considered legitimate spending currency in 22 nations, 2 principalities, and at Chick-fil-A restaurants in the United States and Western Canada.
I do not always engage with education programming, but when I do, it is the Dr. Duke Show.
Stay educated with the Dr. Duke Show, weekdays at 4 p.m. on Beck News.
Introducing Accord Comfort Sleep Systems, a better way to sleep. We offer you 5 different models to give you the perfect choice of support and body comfort. Every model begins with our exclusive Accord Comfort Reflex Layer. This ensures proper spinal alignment and a deep down body relief. Our 8-inch Whisper Breeze provides a medium firm feel, and our 10-inch Gentle Night model has a quilted top, giving you a medium plush comfort. Both use Outlast fabric on the top of your mattress, ensuring that your body temperature is not too hot and not too cold. Our Copper Rest Sleep Series is our premier mattress, offering your choice of firm, plush, and luxury plush. Every model uses copper-infused gel latex and provides all the health benefits of copper. Accord Comfort mattresses are handcrafted in the USA and come with a 60-night sleep guarantee. You're going to love sleeping with us. Order today exclusively at accordsleep.com or Tom's Home Furnishings in beautiful downtown Harvey.
You're looking for secure private cloud storage, but who can you trust? Big tech companies don't always keep your family photos, videos, and sensitive business information away from prying eyes. Your local Beck Lightband Internet Services comes with 50 gigs of Beck Cloud Backup, free. Hometown service with top-tier security to keep your data truly safe and private. Get your 50 gigs free today. Call 701-475-2361 and ask about Beck Cloud Backup.
My name is Rich Shook, and I lost my best friend in a grain bin accident. Some of the emotional scars that when these incidences happen just resonates throughout the community like dropping a rock in a pond. I guess I'll never forget. At least the last moments we shared. That's why I think this is so important to get out there to people, is people think that it can't happen to you, and it can. The time it would take you to just kiss a loved one, and your life is over. I believe it's unacceptable.
This message provided by North Dakota Farmers Union.
Welcome back to No Filter with Debbie on Beck. So, Grand Forks has issued a mask resolution. They've passed this mask resolution. It says that the Republic must wear masks when social distancing cannot be maintained. Now, originally, they were going to have a $250 fine for not wearing your mask in Grand Forks, but thankfully they came to their senses, and now this is basically not a mask mandate, it's just a resolution. There is no penalty to it, and that is a good thing. Listen, after 7 months, people in North Dakota know what they need to do. They need to take their own individual initiative, take their own individual responsibility, and decide what is good for them. There are many, many places where mask mandates, as we've said time and again on this show, are very, very tough. And those numbers are super high in those places. Mexico has a very tough mask mandate. Guess what? Mexico is now has a very high death toll. The United Kingdom police are now enforcing a travel ban. They had a very strict mask mandate and quarantines, and guess what? And there was a 17-day lockdown for people in Wales. Guess what? Their rates have gone way up. Masks don't stop this. Europe, more leaders there are infected. Spain has a nationwide curfew. All of these countries in Europe, and including Spain, very tough mask mandates. Nothing changed for the positive. It did, but for a very short amount of time. This is a virus. People who get cases, the numbers are going to go up. Then they're going to go down. This is going to be cyclical, and masks are not going to change it. If they did, New York would be much different right now in terms of their rates of infection. Same with Canada, same with California, same with many of these other states. It's just a fact. But despite that, you can't talk sense to some people. And Deborah Birx, remember her, the Scarfinator? She wore different scarves every day to the press conferences with the president. She's really persona non grata on the White House coronavirus task force. She has not been seen at the White House with the president in a very, very long time. He's not taking advice from her anymore. Why? Because all she does is give negative, strict advice, just like Anthony Fauci. She's very political, just like he is. I'll bet you neither of them are voting for the president. So Deborah Birx came to North Dakota, and now she's trashing North Dakota. She says it's the least use of masks we have seen. There are and she's also saying that there's a very high level of virus in North Dakota. Doesn't matter if you're in a rural or urban area, there's a high level of virus circulating because it's circulating in us. That's wrong. That is absolutely wrong, because we know where the highest number of cases are in North Dakota, and they're not in the rural areas. They are in the highly populated areas. They are in Cass County and Burley and Morton counties. They're not in the rural areas, so that's absolutely incorrect. And if she can't get her facts straight and her data straight on that, you can't take a thing she's saying seriously. She's saying that there's a high level of silent spread. She met with the governor. She said that out of the 38 locations she's been to across the country, the least amount of mask usage is right in Bismarck. She doesn't like that. She's also met with tribal leaders and says that the virus is being brought into tribal nations from outside communities. Oh yeah, the evil white man is infecting the tribes, please. We know that people from the tribes go in and out of the reservations. They go in and out of the tribal lands. We also know that the tribal lands have gotten very high amounts of money from the federal government, from you, the taxpayer, even though they claim to be sovereign nations. They claim to be separate countries. They don't have to leave their reservations. They're supposed to be self-sufficient. They've chosen to do so. That is not because they brought it from outside. We talked about the tribes and how they were not taking the right steps, and they were crowding people into hotels and into certain places, and that's how it spread. And they have the highest rate, not because they brought it from the outside. If that was true, their rates of coronavirus would be reflected in the general population of North Dakota. And we talked about how they have much higher rates of infection. That's not because of the evil white man. It's because of cultural behavior. It's because of their chosen behavior. And it's nothing against the tribes. They're good people. Most of the rank and file are good people. It's their leadership. Just like we have some bad leadership in certain parts of this country. You know, they're a sovereign nation. They choose their leadership. And people in the rest of the country choose their leadership. We see what's happening in New York and places like that. So that's why this is happening. And all you have to do is look at what's going on in other places. Look at these graphics from East Coast states. Look at these details of what is going on in some of the East Coast states and in other countries. Look at this. Europe is in far worse shape. This is from Pradeep Shankar, who is a radiologist and public health policy expert. And he says that if you adjusted the population in Europe, here's how we would compare to the other countries. So we only have more cases per day than Germany if you adjust for their population. So that's one thing. All right, now you look at Dr. Scott Atlas, and he is the medical expert from the Hoover Institution, and look at what he wrote about. So the mortality rate, the 10 highest places, look at where that is. New York, New Jersey. This is according to Harvard. We cited the Harvard statistics against North Dakota about a month or two ago. Look at those numbers. And that's New York and New Jersey, where they had some of the strictest rules. They had quarantine rules for out-of-staters. You have to wear masks everywhere you go. North Dakota, if they put in a mask mandate, we would have those same numbers. It's not going to change anything. All that would happen is you are going to be breathing your own air. And one last thing before we go. Sanford Health announced that they are merging into Intermountain Healthcare. Some people think that may hurt North Dakotans. It won't. You may get less health care because they may cut things as they merge. But you know what? Sanford is already an out-of-state organization. So 2 out-of-staters merging, it's not going to hurt us. And remember, things are not always as they seem. See you tomorrow.